Hello and welcome to my channel. I recently made a video analysis of the Air India crash with the information I had at that time. Now that we have more information and a little more time to do some research, I'm going to present to you what I now think could have caused this crash or what could have contributed to this crash. I do this very respectfully, knowing that everything I say could be wrong. I'm just sharing this information with you. And I also present this video honestly because I don't trust the Boeing company that much. So anyways, I'll present you with the information. Okay, this is the takeoff run of the Air India Boeing 787. As you can see from right there, the aircraft is taking off almost at the end of the runway. We could tell that there was already a problem. At that moment, still here, I think that the aircraft still have engine power, just reduce engine power because it's climbing very slowly, but still climbing. Up to there, I think that they still have engine power. Right there, on that point, I can barely see the landing gear moving. Now they stop climbing and very slowly start descending. So, in my point of view, they still have engine power, just very reduced engine power. Okay? In my opinion. Again, I could be wrong. What could reduce power on both engines? People were saying that the flaps, we already know that the flaps were in the correct position. People were saying the fuel contamination. I don't think so. Both engines flaming out or shutting down at the same time because of fuel contamination, very unlikely. What could have caused both engines to reduce power? Of course, throttling back the thrust levers, but that doesn't explain why the landing gear didn't go up completely, and that doesn't explain the rat deploying. So I don't think it was that. I think that the crew tried to put full power, and full power on the engines was not available. So again, reduce power on a critical moment, takeoff. On my previous video, I contemplated the possibility that the auto throttle setup and configuration was incorrect, and probably the crew didn't notice that problem. But again, that doesn't explain why the landing gear didn't go up when it tried to go up and why the rat deployment. So I don't think now that was the case. So again, what could reduce engine power on both engines at the same time? Then I start thinking about the engine controls, the electronic engine controls for the engines, on each engine. Probably they went out and the engines went immediately to idle power. But I recently find out that the electronic engine controls for each engine are self-powered by a permanent magnet alternator. So the engine controls have their own source of power. Both shutting down at the same time or no, I find it very unlikely. So again, what else could have reduced power on the engines? What commonality both engines have? What interconnects them together? Okay, I start thinking that this happened on both engines at the same time. And I say both engines because not in any moment you can see airplane doing this, not in any moment. So I start thinking that the reduced power was on both engines at the same time. So I start looking into fuel. I find out that the Boeing 787 has three main fuel tanks with two fuel pumps on each tank. These fuel pumps are all electrical. Okay? These 6 pumps are electrical. There's another pump here. You can see in the image, a small one. That's for the APU. So, probably the engines were not getting proper fuel at the critical moment of takeoff. Maybe there was a electrical shutdown and shut down all the fuel pumps. Could that happen? Is that even possible? I do some more research and find out that the Boeing 787 on each engine has 2 generators that supply voltage to a common AC electrical bus. From that bus, all the electrical systems on the boat are supply of voltage. Listen to this, including here. Oops, what did I do? Here, DC fuel pumps. This electrical system provides voltage to the fuel pumps that supply fuel to the engines. This is very important. So, is it possible that the engines shut down the electrical system? No. Is it possible that the electrical system stopped working while the engines were still working? Is it possible? Right now, I'm understanding that the fuel pumps for the engines, again, I'm repeating myself, are electrical. So if there's an electrical problem on this aircraft, those fuel pumps are going to shut down. So what's going to happen to the engines? They're going to go into suction mode. Okay? But what happened with suction mode on the engines? Suction mode, there's going to be a temporary time that the engines are not going to put out all their power because of error in the system. I don't know exactly the details, but in suction mode, there's a possibility that the engines will not produce full power. Now, this happening on a takeoff moment is very critical. So, what if this was the case? Let's say that the electrical system shut down, we shut down the fuel pumps, and that made the engines going to reduce power. What happened to why the landing gear didn't go up? Why? Because here again, this is a more detailed drawing of the generators of the engines supplying voltage to the main bus, and we can see here it says fuel pumps. This system also supply voltage to the main hydraulic system, supplies voltage to 2 electrical pumps for the main hydraulic system, which is used for the landing gear. So if the electrical system shuts down, there's not going to be power on the electrical pumps for the main hydraulic system, and the landing gear will not work. Well, why did it move? Probably because there was still pressure, residual pressure on the hydraulic system, enough to move the gears a little bit, and then they stop moving. That's what I'm suspecting what happened. Okay, so main hydraulic system is in charge of the main landing gear. This main system is supply pressure by 2 electrical pumps. Electrical system shut down. These 2 electrical pumps shut down. No more main hydraulic system. No landing gear functionality. No operational. Okay. So this drawing is basically confirming that the main hydraulic system, the center hydraulic system, is in charge of the gear extension or gear workings. Okay, so if there was an electrical problem, a big electrical problem where the 2 generators for each engine stop working, no more electrical power on the airplane, what could have caused this? I found an article that reads, U.S. Aviation Authority, Boeing 787 bug could cause loss of control. What does the article say? It says here that the plane's electrical system, the Boeing 787, electrical generators fall into a fail-safe mode if kept continuously powered on for 248 days. The 787 has 4 such main generators, 2 on each engine. Generator control units that, if powered on at the same time, could fail simultaneously and cause a complete electrical shutdown. Wow. When I read this, I'm like, oh my God, what? So there's a preview instances where this complete electrical problem on a 787 had happened before. Probably it had never happened on a critical phase like a takeoff. So this could explain why probably the aircraft lose electrical power during the takeoff run. That loss of electrical power made the fuel pumps for the engines to shut down, the engines to go into suction mode, which reduce power to the engines. This also caused the main hydraulic system for the landing gear to stop working, no more pressure, and the landing gear could not bring it up. And this also explains why the rat deployed, because no electrical power to the aircraft. You know, when I read this article and after finding all this information, I'm like, oh, wow, this is incredible. I'm having a very time doing this video because in a way I get sad. It's very hard for me to try to communicate to you because of I think about the passengers. I think about the pilots trying to keep this airplane flying, all those moments, and it's just very sad. So I'm trying to keep it composed here, but so just to resume it, electrical failure on the main bus caused the fuel pumps to stop working on the engines. Engines go into suction mode, which provides reduced power temporarily on a takeoff run, not enough power. This also shut down the main hydraulic system, no landing gear operational, and this caused the rat to deploy. From the article, this situation has happened before and probably could explain what happened in this crash. Could.